Hello, I'm Danny Cook, and welcome to the third episode of Halftime Cuppa's Halftime Podcast, a 15-minute show where we discuss just one footballing topic in as much detail as possible. Joining me on today's panel, we have Kieran Moss.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Ese Agboaye.
Hello.
Hello, Ese. We have two returning panelists who are back today to battle it out. The panelists will be debating a topic. Each panelist will have to either argue in favour or against that topic. It's now time for me to toss the coin to decide who will get what side. So today's topic is about if Gareth Southgate will remain as England manager post 2018 World Cup. This is very hypothetical. We're in 2017. It's not quite kicked off. I'm about to toss the coin. Let's have Ese decide.
I'm going to go tails.
Here we go. It is heads. So Kieran, what would you like?
Right, I will take that he'll still have the job after the World Cup.
Ese will be arguing against him still having the job. The winner, like all the shows previous, will be decided by you, the listener, by casting your vote in the poll below. Let's kick off with the main debates. So, Kieran, as you won the toss, would you like to kick off with your initial reasons as to why Gareth Southgate will remain England manager post 2018 World Cup?
Well, we all know that England aren't in the best of places right now. The past 20 years have been pretty dreadful for English football. But one of the worst managers we've probably had in that time is a certain Mr. Roy Hodgson. He led the team into the 2014 World Cup, which just happened to be England's worst ever World Cup performance, finishing bottom of the group without a win. Yet after that competition, he was handed a new contract in order to take us to the Euros. So clearly it doesn't matter how dreadful you are, you're still going to keep the job until you want it or until you want to resign.
Fair opening point there. Let's go to Ese. Let's hear his opening point as to why Gareth Southgate would not remain England manager.
Thinking about why, I don't actually think England will get far in the tournament. Like even if England gets to the quarterfinals, I still feel that Gareth Southgate will not be in the job post World Cup. And to expand on that, I just don't think England have the tactics to compete.
Obviously, with England, there's a lot of expectation and a lot of media pressure. Do you think that this could maybe contribute to his demise as an England manager?
Yeah, definitely. England fans and the media are always expecting the best, which is ridiculous because England aren't going to win the World Cup. They're not going to win Euro 2020. No matter what team we go in, whether it be a team with Matthew Upson, Les Scott, people like that in, they still think, it's England, 1966, we're going to win the World Cup. So yeah, it will always play a part, but again, even if the manager gets backlash, again, like Hodgson did after the 2014 World Cup, it shows, doesn't matter how badly you do, you're still going to have the job until you want it.
So Ese, it's well regarded that the golden generation, as they're known in the media, of Beckham, Ferdinand, John Terry, all of them, Paul Scholes, for example, all of those players have all unfortunately left the England squad now. Do you see any sort of effect of that on the current England setup?
At the moment, no. The golden generation of the past have left like big shoes to fill, and I feel the shoes left by them are too big for the current squad.
Will the lack of supposed quality with the golden generation no longer a part of it, will the lack of quality potentially keep Gareth Southgate in a job?
No. I think should England repeat the form of 2014 or even regardless, I feel the FA may want to bring in a breath of fresh air.
And to Kieran then, Gareth Southgate, to some people he may seem quite conservative, quite calm, not very animated on the sidelines. Do you think he possesses the characteristics that England need to progress in European and international competitions?
I don't think it's all about the characteristics as such, because I think everyone has that ruthless side of them that a manager needs. But he's been in the system. Obviously, he managed the under-21s, I think, relatively well. That's why he was given the interim job when Sam Allardyce left. And again, during that period, he performed quite well. Probably should have won all the games we played in, like the Spain game where we were 2-0 up until the 90th minute, then managed to draw 2-2. Again, that probably wasn't his fault. That was just lack of concentration by the players. So I think he possesses the characteristics they'll be looking for in a manager, because they wouldn't have hired him in the first place if that was the case.
Ese, what would you say is Gareth Southgate's biggest weakness?
I say his biggest weakness for me would just have to be like motivating the squad. Because seeing them play with these, and they don't look very motivated, and just being like, oh, they just play like as if, oh, I can't wait to be back at my club. I mean, playing for England should be a badge of honour, not just like your everyday job.
Kieran, what would you say is Gareth Southgate's biggest strength if you had to choose just one strength?
I mean, we heard him speak a few months back. He kept talking about how his tournament experience has helped him sort of teach the squad how that's going. Obviously, he had that massive penalty miss. I can't remember, was it, I want to say Euro 94 or something like that?
96, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think his experiences like that will certainly help him. And I think that's probably his biggest strength, that he has the tournament experience that people like Allardyce, I want to say probably Sven-Goran Eriksson never played in a tournament. I highly doubt Steve McLaren ever played in a national tournament. So he has that on this side.
This is going to be my last question, and then we are going to open this up to a sort of verbal tennis game between you two, in which I just want you to go back and forth. But let's go to Ese then. If Gareth Southgate was to leave, who would you look to be a better replacement for him?
I know it's a long shot. I would say either Carlo Ancelotti or Sean Dyche. With Carlo Ancelotti, I think his brand of football is exciting. But having said that, I don't think he sees himself in international management. It's not a bad shout, having said that. And as for Sean Dyche, I think the way Sean Dyche plays football it's a bit similar to how most English managers play football. But what he does it with Burnley, I feel it's different to every other manager. And see him bringing a different brand of football to England will reinvigorate that excitement that we've been missing for so long.
Well, it's now time to open up this debate. So, Kieran, we'll start with you. You can fire back at Ese and pick up on some points that he's raised so far. And let's get it going back and forward.
Yeah, I'm one of these people that believes the manager's not fully in control of the England squad when it gets picked. Bringing in someone like Carlo Ancelotti, especially, I don't think he would want the job because he wouldn't have creative freedom of what to do. As for Sean Dyche, I think, although he's a quality manager, I wouldn't want a manager that young or that early in his managerial career to tarnish what he already has. So, for example, Eddie Howe's been touted with the England job, but I think that would be a stupid career move for him as well. I think they're more realistic. I don't think there's anyone that would want the England job right now. I think that's the problem.
Kind of agreeing with Kieran there. But the thing is, though, I think the FA as a whole need to allow a manager creativity, or what's the point in management?
I agree with that, but if you look at the last few managers you've had, Gareth Southgate, Roy Hodgson, Allardyce, Capello and Big Sven, all five of them have easily been managers that they could control and manipulate to do what they want. Hence why I think Harry Redknapp didn't get the job prior to the 2014 World Cup when Hodgson got it, because Harry Redknapp's quite outspoken and he wouldn't want to do what they ask him to do. So I think they'll stick with Southgate because they have someone there that they can essentially use to get what they want.
Being a yes man is potentially good for England?
Yes and no. Yes, because obviously we get the squad together, it's quite a close to the squad. There seems to be the same few faces in there every single time. Obviously, the last international break there was quite a few injuries, so that was a big blow. But at the same time, it's not a good thing because it shows no desire and passion from the manager in order to achieve. So this whole argument on whether they'd get picked because of form or the club they play for, at the moment, I feel like it's heavily because of the club they play for, not because of form. So, for example, in the last squad, you had people like Delph before he withdrew from injury. Although he'd been playing well, arguably had he been playing better than some people for the likes of Bournemouth and smaller teams like that,
Does the blame lie for that with Southgate, or is it behind the scenes at the FA?
No, it's behind the scenes at the FA, definitely. Like I say, I feel the FA have a very strong influence as to say who goes in and out of the squad. Like, I reckon it's one of these things where Southgate drafts up his squad, hands it to the higher powers, they cross off a few names, put in a few more, and then Southgate gets his squad when it's announced to everyone else.
In any walks of business, I don't like yes men at all. I'd like a man who's been given the freedom to do what to do, and when he's being told he's not doing right, and also when he's told that he's been doing wrong, he'll listen to that. But at the same time, he has to know that he's got a mind of his own, rather than just be following what he's being told to do.
Okay, well, the full-time whistle on this debate has just about blown. It's time to hear some extra views from some of the public. So let's just hear a couple of those now.
Will Gareth Southgate remain as England manager after the World Cup? He will, but he shouldn't.
I don't think so, because we are probably not going to do very well because I don't think he knows the style of play he wants to play.
He's a safe bet for the FA. He's not controversial in any way, so I don't see them sacking him anytime soon.
Okay, and we are back. So, yes, you've just heard some views there. And obviously, that's the end of this debate and end of this podcast. Don't forget that you can decide who the winner is by casting your vote below. And let us know if you think Gareth Southgate is going to remain England manager post the World Cup. Be sure to check out the various other pieces of content we have on our site, as well as our football predictor at halftimecuppa.com. Finally, a shout out to today's panelists, Kieran Moss and Ese Agboaye. Thank you very much for coming on today, guys.
No worries.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Thank you as always. I've been your host, Danny Cook, and you've been listening to the third episode of the Halftime Podcast.